Hi, welcome. Simon here, and I hope you're doing well. In this video, I'll be replacing a MacBook Pro screen. This is a 13-inch, and the model is A1989. So this is for the year of 2018 or the 2019 model. Let me show you the screen, what is happening right now. If you take a look at the screen, sometimes it flickers. It's more like hit or miss. And sometimes you see the screen flicker like this, and sometimes there'll be like pixelated lines or distorted colors. So screen flicker, distorted color, or pixelated colors, in that sense you would need to have a brand new screen replaced. So it wasn't much today, thank God. I mean, not really. I like to show you when it flickers a lot more, but now it's not happening. But earlier you were able to see some of the flickers on the screen, and sometimes the screen can go as bad as lines right across vertically or horizontal with pinkish, greenish color, and so on and so forth. Okay, so just wanted to share that with you, and I need to have a new screen replaced because of that reason. So all right, so let me go ahead and get started with the screen replacement. Now, just now it went and boot to the guest mode. The cursor is still up here, but that's all right. We're gonna disconnect the battery and get started. All right, so again, if you want to take a quick look, make sure you have the right model here. You go ahead and match up. It says model A1989 1989. This is a 13-inch MacBook Pro with 4 Thunderbolt 2 on each side. All right, so here is the pentalobe screwdriver. We need to remove the back cover. Let's go ahead and do that. The 2 screws on the top are much longer, and the 4 screws at the bottom are slightly shorter. All right, once you have removed 6 screws, I'll be using a metal prying tool. What I'm trying to do is to get underneath, slightly underneath, down to the back cover here. So there will be a clipper on both sides, the right and the left. Okay, and that clipper here is holding down the back cover. So what you want to do is you want to pop the clipper up, like pop it out. So I'm gonna pop it, and you can hear that crack noise. Okay, so that is for one side. I'm gonna come back here and do it on the other side. All right, so that would be the pop. Once you have popped open the 2-side clipper, you want to slide the back cover towards your body. So slide it down, and the way I'm doing it is I'm holding onto the back cover, and I use my thumb to push. It's kind of like pull and push, and to get the back cover removed. All right, once you have done that, this is the very first step. And the second step here is to disconnect the battery. So the battery is hidden underneath with this plastic cover here. So locate the plastic cover, remove it. This is your cable. It has the cover as well. So go ahead and expose that plastic cover. Get yourself a plastic prying tool. Pry the clipper. There's a slight clipper here that is holding onto the cable. Lift it straight up, and now you can slide the cable to your left. That's how you disconnect it. Okay, it was insert in that connector. Now you can just remove it, sliding to your left. All right, once you have done that, let's go ahead and get yourself a T3 screwdriver. Oops, sorry, T4. And remove this one screw. This screw right here is holding onto the battery. So what happened is that this little metal here, okay, is touching the battery connector. So once you remove that screw, it will slightly off. It will slightly off the metal, so there won't be any electric connectivity. All right, so once you have that removed, now you can continue the process of replacing the screen. Let me zoom it a little bit closer. We are working on this part of the section most of the time here. All right, if you're still watching the video, please go ahead and get yourself ready, because we are going deep down into the process. And do not forget to give me a like. All right, so let's move on to the next part. I'll be using a T4. Oh, again, I will link all the tools and the screen in the description below. Go ahead and check out the description. It will direct you to either Amazon or eBay, where you can purchase the tools as well as the replacement screen. All right, so we are removing the screw here. This is also a good time for you to clean your computer. If you see a lot of dust and a lot of your pet's hair on it, the fur and whatnot, and go ahead and start cleaning the fan and the exhaust here. All right, so what I did was I removed the 2 longer screw, the 2 shorter screw here, and another 2 longer screw here. So the 2, 4, 6 screws at the bottom is removed at this point. Now the next step I'd like to do is to get the plastic prying tool. Go ahead and lift the cable straight up. This is your Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth. There are 3 of connection. The connector is very fragile. Do not break the connector, especially the connector on the motherboard here, the 3 little circles. 1, 2, 3. Be very careful with the circles. Do not break them. If not, then yeah, you'll have a bad time. All right, so let's move on. There's a little hidden screw right here. It's holding onto your Wi-Fi. I'm using a T4 to remove that screw. Make sure you put that screw on the side. Okay, so the next step here I like to do is to remove 4 screws, or actually 6 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm still using the T4. So these 4 screws here, the bigger ones, are holding on to the LCD board. Okay, that is for the LCD. Go ahead and remove that. Now once you remove the 4 screws, you can see that the board is loose. Do not forget to make sure the bracket is saved. Put them on the side. I forgot to do that earlier. Okay, so here I'll be using a T3. This is a slightly tiny one. T3. And make sure you save the bracket. Put that on the side. And let's go ahead and disconnect this cable here. Yeah, just like Lego, you can just leave it straight up. And that's how you disconnect the cable. This cable here runs from the motherboard underneath and over connect to the display board. Okay, so that would be that reason. Now the display board is free and waiting for us to remove it. Now before you can remove this, the Wi-Fi antenna is actually holding onto the cable here, so you do need to remove the Wi-Fi antenna to get to replace the entire screen. Here I'll be using the 0.8, the star looking thing. Okay, 0.8. that star for the Wi-Fi antenna. Now the screw here is very tiny. Take your time, do not rush, do not strip the screw. Make sure you have the right tools. If not, the screw can get easily stripped. And if you strip the screw, you just have more work for yourself to do. If you are still following my video so far, we are almost there. And you can pause the video and click the like and subscribe. I really appreciate you for doing that. It will just keep me motivated to make more of this repair video for you in the near future. Alright, now once I remove all the screws for the Wi-Fi antenna, you want to come back here, use the T4 again. This T4 is to remove the bracket. This bracket here is covering up the hinge. So once you remove the two screws, you can lift open the plastic. Okay, just put the plastic on the side. You want to come back here to do on the other side, on the right of the screen. Okay, remove the plastic. And now you are exposed with the 6 screws on the both side of the hinges, right? Now you want to use the T8. Go ahead and remove that screw. Okay, now once that is all removed, we need to remove the Wi-Fi antenna first before we can disconnect the screen. So go ahead and lift the Wi-Fi antenna out. And what I'm doing is you pay attention to the Wi-Fi here, the cable right here. The way it is it go in between that little hole underneath the heatsink and then come back out on top the motherboard. So to remove the Wi-Fi antenna, you need to slide it out, meaning that going that direction away from your body. So slide it gently, and that's how you remove the Wi-Fi. Now sometimes you may have some difficulties to remove the Wi-Fi antenna, okay, because this is where the bracket is held down by the connector right here. So you may have to wiggle and put some pressure to pry it out. Once it's loose, then you can slide it away from your body. So for my case, it was easy, but hopefully it applies same to your process. All right, the next step here is for me to go ahead and open up the screen. So I'm opening up the screen. I'm keep opening up. Okay, and now I can slide a hinge out. If you allow me to angle the camera, I can slide a hinge out and the entire screen would just got removed. Okay, so this is the old screen. Here comes my new screen. All right, so it is ready. Make sure the hinge here is pushed all the way down. Not closed, but it's to open. And this is your LCD board, right? So what you want to do is you want to make sure that the LCD board is above the LCD board, and this flex cable right here, both of them are above on top the motherboard. Okay, because they're going back down like this. Now the next step here, what you want to do is you want to align your hinge so that the hinge can go back in to the laptop. Right. So just align them, come back, check the cable, make sure they are above it. Perfect. Okay, and you want to come here and then make sure the other side of the hinge as well is insert into the laptop. Now while I'm holding the screen still, what I like to do is I like to put one screw I want this one screw here holding down the LCD screen. Come back. I want it to be holding down on the other side as well. Okay, once the tiny little screw is holding onto the hinge on both sides, now what I can do is I can close the screen and continue my repair, right? So you do not want the screen to be open, therefore it's hard for you to repair. So put one screw so that the hinge can close. Now the screen is closed and you can come back and finish up the rest of other screws. Okay, once you have the install, go ahead and make sure check on the cable. They are not clipped or anything. They're exposed and above the laptop. Now what you want to do next is to slide the Wi-Fi antenna back to the tiny little hole. It's right there. You're going to slide it in. 3 of the cable. And now you can see that the first cable comes out, exposed. What you want to do is you want to get your tiny little screw, help that cable to go above the motherboard. As you're going above, you see the second one, help that tiny little guy to go above onto the motherboard. I know it's quite difficult. All right, the first 2 cables are exposed on top. Keep coming. We're going to find the 3rd cable. Go back out, and then redo it again. 1, 2, 3 cables. Okay, try again. All right, I see the 3rd little guy. Now all 3 cables are on top of the motherboard. Now I need to help. The last metal is the screw, the one that you put the screw to lock it down. Come on. Okay, I see that little metal bracket here. So you need to bring that bracket on the top. All right, so now the bracket is on top of the Wi-Fi. That is a good sign. Okay, so we have 3 cables. Go ahead and count them. 1, 2, 3 cables. And that little metal piece here for the screw. Now once we have that installed correctly, so go ahead and secure the Wi-Fi. Make sure that the cables are still above the Wi-Fi antenna. All right, always double check your work, so you don't have to come back and redo it again for the mistake. Okay, now they are in the right place. So what I like to do here is I like to go ahead and secure with the bracket. Now we are done with the hinge, right? So go ahead and put the bracket back in. You kind of need to slide it in, yeah? Slide it in, tuck it underneath that aluminum or the cover here, tuck it underneath. Get yourself a screwdriver, T3. Lock it down. All right, so that is done. Now the next step here, 0.8, tiny little screw. You don't have to screw it really tight. Just enough pressure to know that the screw is not going to drop off or came loose. That is enough. I mean, there are too many screws, and this Wi-Fi antenna is not going to come out anyway. So you don't really have to screw all the way real tight to secure this. Just enough pressure to hold on to. Yeah, I'm sorry to say this, but if your screen flickers, if you get pixelated colors, you have no other choice but to replace the entire screen. Unless you want to stationary your laptop and just use external monitor for the display, that might be one of the solution for you to do that. But if you're planning to travel with your laptop, make it portable, like bringing it to school or to work, then you would have to get the screen replaced. So I bought all my tools from Amazon and the screen as well for this repair. Again, I'll link them in the description below. Go ahead and check it out. All right, and this is the final last screw for the Wi-Fi. Okay, that is all done. Now I'm going to close the LCD board. Let's close it down. Okay, the 4 screws hold on to the LCD board. Now the next step here, you want to flip this little spring backwards. So flip it away from your body, flip it backwards, and you want to go ahead and tuck it underneath so it would stay. So it stay in the bracket. Okay. Now go ahead and get yourself the T4. All right, so once you have the 4 screws installed, now what you want to do next is to go ahead and connect the cable. So go ahead and align the cable back to the connector. Yeah, just like Lego, once you have them in the right position, you can just press it down. It doesn't take a lot of force or any power to do that, so do not force the thing hard. Just enough pressure to push it down. All right, now you go ahead and put the bracket back on. And there are 4 screws, or well, 2 screws on each side. I'm not sure what happened to the other screw on mine. If I find it, I'll put it back in. I guess I, by accident, might have just lost it. But that's okay. All right, so there you have it. Now we are almost done. I seriously do not see that tiny little screw. I might have lost that screw here for this connector, but that's okay. If I see it, I'll put it back in. But for now, let's continue with the process. Now here are the 3 little Wi-Fi antenna, right? So make sure you put the tiny little screw here. Now what I want to do is make sure that you pay close attention to how you install the Wi-Fi connector. The circle on the motherboard here, do not bend or break it, as well as the Wi-Fi connector on the top, this little gold silver looking connector. So what you want to do is you want to align them in the right position. It doesn't take a lot of pressure. Once you have them in the right position, you can feel like you would click. You would feel like the cable would click into it automatically by itself by putting just a tiny little pressure. Do not force it. Do not bend the connector. That's my advice. Take your time, no rush, because you do not want to break the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth. Okay, I'll come back and tighten that screw. Now I have all the 3 cables in the right position. There you go. All right, so we're pretty much done. The next step here I like to do is to put that screw back on to that battery. And then make sure that clipper is open. Now you want to align that flex cable. Insert into that connector. Okay, what you want to do is get this little plastic as a leverage to pull towards your right. So kind of pull, and you want to push, make sure it's going all the way in. You can feel like it stops all the way in, then you press that little clipper, press it down to secure that. Now the next step here is to get the little plastic cover back up. Let's zoom out a little bit. And here is where the thing you want to slide it in on both sides. Yeah, so you want to align the back cover and then slide it in, push it all the way in. And now remember that little side clipper on both sides. Go ahead and pinch it down. You can hear that little pinch. And there are two more here. Okay, now there you have it. The back cover is all installed. The two longer screws are for the top. All right, so let's take a look here. And I hope that you were able to follow my video. And if you can, just comment below at the bottom. I'd like to hear from you whether you were able to follow along my video. Were you able to change your screen? Things like that, just let me know. And if you feel like the video is helpful, please give me a like, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell for the next repair video in the future. And thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something today, and I hope that I'm able to help you with the repair. Thanks now. Bye.